an apology of sorts there from Stuart Robert, but can you believe he's actually claiming credit for stopping the scheme? That is some spin, surely.
I mean, I can always believe Stuart Robert attempting spin, Laura. He's quite the showman. But look, this is possibly being the biggest disaster of the Morrison government, and yet nobody seems to have paid a price for it. Well, apart from the Australian taxpayer, who's about to fork out $1.2 billion. And you have to say, I think it's been the only successful attack that the Labour opposition has made on the government since it lost the 2019 election. And isn't it surprising that the man who has spearheaded this fight and this ultimate outcome is Bill Shorten, of all people, who's had a massive win with the settlement of this lawsuit. He's still wanting more. Labour are still calling for a royal commission into the Robodebt saga, and it's still pursuing both Stuart Robert and the former Human Services Minister, now the Cities and Immigration Minister, Alan Tudge. Well, not sure if they'll go, considering how long this has been running, but it's been the weakest point for a Morrison government that you have to say, apart from the bushfires at the beginning of the year and this, have been very strong and very popular. I mean, but this is a disaster.
It certainly is a disaster, and to say that this was a long-standing practice that was used under the Hawke and Keating governments is just sophistry at absolute best. It wasn't about income averaging, it was about so many other things. But Richard, Stuart Robert has also been a name that I have heard is in line for a promotion in the next reshuffle. What do you think the chances are of that?
The thing about Stuart Robert, as you well know, Laura, is that he's a very close ally of the Prime Minister. He has been considered one of the Prime Minister's numbers men, especially when it came to his ultimate ascension to the leadership after Malcolm Turnbull resigned, or was ultimately did not go through to the last ballot. So Stuart Robert is very close to the Prime Minister. He was put in charge of government services precisely because the Prime Minister wanted to make so many reforms to the bureaucracy, which he has and which he's continuing to do. So he is very, very close to the Prime Minister. So it wouldn't surprise me that despite everything and despite the fact that Stuart Robert has had to resign several times in the course of this 7-year Liberal national government, wouldn't surprise me if he gets a bit of a step up.
Oh, yeah. Well, just quickly on Bill Shorten, I did ask him about leadership. I thought he politely declined my probing questions on that particular, most particular questions about whether Anthony Albanese would survive. But he did throw Tanya Plibersek's name into the mix without being prompted, and I didn't think he was effusive in his praise, if you like.
Well, look, it's interesting that he threw Tanya Plibersek's name in the mix. Our colleague at the Australian and Sky News contributor Troy Bramston, a veteran Labour insider, wrote today that he thought that Tanya Plibersek's name would be at the top of the list to replace Albanese. There are, of course, a couple of other names of people who could replace Albanese that are going around. Richard Marles is a name that's getting stronger and stronger. Of course, Jim Chalmers has always been the strong name because he's from Queensland, he's a member of the right, he's young, and there's a various. But you'd think that if it was Tanya Plibersek in a membership fight, if it were to go to the membership, as the Labour process does, you would think that Tanya Plibersek would probably have a very, very strong chance of winning that fight. Of course, the line at the moment is that everybody's behind the leader. Nobody's changing from Anthony Albanese.
Yeah.
I can't see anything happening before Christmas.
No.
But in the new year, we'll have to see whether Labour's fortunes pick up.